I'm a 56-year-old rural gun-owning white guy, and if Kamala Harris thinks I'll vote for her, she's right. 1770, Boston, Massachusetts. Tensions are very high between the crown and the citizens of the colonies. There's a soldier, a king's soldier, standing on a street, I think it was Queen Street, and he was getting a lot of flack from the citizens on the street. Before you know it, there's 7 or 8 more soldiers and a couple hundred citizens. They went from throwing insults to throwing whatever they'd get their hands on. And as you might guess, the soldiers opened fire on the crowd. A couple of the colonists got killed and a couple got wounded, and the soldiers got arrested, charged with murder. Imagine being the lawyer that had to go to court and defend these guys. You wouldn't be very popular. But there was a man who was held in very high regard in the colony. He wrote their colony's constitution. Back then, the colonies had their own constitutions. Anyway, his name was John Adams. John Adams believed in the law. He believed that any defendant had the right to a fair trial with a jury of his peers. So he defended him. He got all but 2 acquitted, and those 2 got convicted of manslaughter and had their hands branded. John Adams would go on to work with Jefferson to write our Declaration of Independence, and he was the one who made the debate in front of the Second Continental Congress that resulted in the Declaration of Independence being ratified. One could argue that he's the reason we're a free country today. He went on later to work with John Jay and Hamilton and Madison to have great debate in the Federalist Papers. I think it was 71 through 79. A great debate about what our Supreme Court and our judicial branch would look like. They debated the lifetime appointments, whether or not Congress could put rules on them, and all kinds of things. And they did the best they could, because you see, back then, they couldn't imagine that we would have a Supreme Court one day that would be enslaved to political ideologies like we do today. They figured that if a man were to get appointed to the Supreme Court, if he makes it through the confirmation process in front of the Senate, where they imagined all the senators were high and honorable men, then that person must be a good and ethical person. That's not how it all turned out. If we could bring John Adams here today, I wonder what he would say. I wonder what he would think of what happened to Marcellus Williams. I imagine he'd be sad and regretful and wish that they could go back and do it again, do it different. But you can't. What's really sad is somewhere out there in America right now, there's another Marcellus Williams sitting in a cell waiting on his date with death. And he's depending on the Supreme Court to do the right thing. We already know this Supreme Court won't. That's why, if you think about this election and you set all the other issues aside for just a minute, think about the Supreme Court. If we elect Kamala Harris and give her a Congress that'll work with her, we can reform the Supreme Court. Trump isn't going to. In fact, based on the current justices' ages, there's likely to be 2 or 3 new appointments to the court. Who do you want? Do you want more people like Trump gave us the last time he was in? Or do you want justices that believe in the rule of law, that believe in the Constitution and what it's supposed to do for us? I know what I want. I know I want to make John Adams proud. So I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris and a blue ticket all the way down to dog catcher. Good day.